Morning, it's 9 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. Members of the panel today, to my far left, Mr. Maurice Therian. To my immediate left is Ms. Lynn Nesbitt. My name is Stu McPherson. I'll be chairing the hearing today. The secretary for today's hearing is Ms. Karen Belshaw. Representing the City of Winnipeg Assessment Department is Mr. Mark Colatruglio. Excuse me. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application. We'll limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony. Anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Please be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council. It's independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We'll then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they so wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today, and the session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. We'll receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. Just as information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record.
Please state your name.
Mark Colatruglio.
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name. Do you affirm the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you have anything to just
No.
repeat?
Morning, Mr. Neufeld. You're here representing the owners for two properties.
Correct.
And it's the amount of assessed value that we're dealing with strictly?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Colatruglio, we're going to begin with 539 St. Mary's Road. So when you're ready, you can give us your evidence, starting with the roll number, please.
Perfect. The roll number is 08000294000. The address again is 539 St. Mary's Road. The reference year for this roll year of 2019 is April 1st of 2016. The assessed values under appeal are $159,000 under the 60 classification and $102,000 under the 10 residential classification, for a total assessed value of $261,000. I do have a recommendation on the file based on a workup that's within my brief on page 6. I won't go through my presentation, our full presentation, if the recommendation is accepted by the applicant.
Would you walk us through that, the recommendation of this?
I can. So it's based on two income streams. This reassessment, we decided to take a look at this property in regards to the income approach to valuation. It is tagged as a residential mixed use. However, in the past, the applicant has come to the hearings and presented income evidence in their argument. So we felt that it was fitting to also take a look at the income workup for this type of property. There are two income streams. The potential rents are based on some of the listings that we were able to find in regards to rental advertisements for the residential portion, and we looked to the market to try to establish a market rent to apply to the commercial portion. We used an $11 rent on the retail side of things, and we used a $900 rent on the apartment side of things. The full NOI breakdown is shown on page 6. Potential rent for the retail stream, $15,631. We've got a 6% vacancy allowance, 7% in expenses, and $650 a square foot in shortfall for a total NOI of $13,110. On the apartment side of things, we've got a potential rent of $10,800. We've applied 2.8% vacancy and 53.4% expense ratio for a total NOI of $4,892. The total of that NOI is $18,002, and we've used a blended capitalization rate of 7.5%. So the total, the end result combined is $240,000, with $65,000 being attributed to the residential stream and $175,000 attributed to the commercial stream. So my recommendation is this exact workup shown on page 6. I won't go into further detail if it's accepted by the applicant.
Thank you. Mr. Neufeld, are you in agreement with this?
We're not going to accept it, but I'm not going to contest it. I'm going to allow the board to make the decision, if that makes any sense. I have no problems with it, but it's just not, I don't want to officially accept it.
Okay, and do you have any questions of the assessor?
I do not.
Mr. Therian, do you have any questions for the assessor?
So you revised your, the original markup was on page 5, was $11 a square foot, so that hasn't changed, I guess, for the, or am I looking at the wrong one here?
So the $11.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's no good, right. The workup on the first, I was just trying to compare the workups on the
Sure.
previous and the present. So where's the previous, it's not there?
It's, if you look at the first page, it's done on regression. The initial value is done based on direct comparison. They would have looked at our model price per square foot based on comparables, because it's a residential property. Going forward, we'd like to look at this property more so on the income side of things, because it is a commercial storefront with a smaller apartment unit attached to the back. We feel it's more appropriate to look at the income approach to things.
So that was based on land sales, was it, or what? The 261, I'm just trying to get a handle on your switch here.
Yeah, it would have been based on, not land sales, sales of single-family dwellings.
Oh, that's what
in
you
the
did.
area. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what the initial value is based on.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Nesbitt?
Okay, no, I have no questions.
This is originally a 1919 building with an effective age of 1949.
Correct.
But does that affect the cap rate that you've applied?
No.
No. It would be the same whether it was 1919 or 1949?
Yeah.
And you said it was a blended cap rate?
Yeah, so we've just used 7.5 on both parts. If you look at the multifamily cap rates on the table found on page 7, they are a bit lower, but the multifamily rates typically that we have are assigned to apartment units within an apartment block, which are a little different. This is a single unit attached to the back of a commercial store, so we've opted to use a bit of a higher cap rate on it.
So this is a verbal recommendation that you're making, or is this a?
Yeah, that's a verbal rec. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Neufeld, do you have anything?
I don't,
further
no,
you'd like to
no,
present?
we are, no comments on the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Then I'm assuming there's no questions from anyone, if there's nothing presented. Okay, leave that with us then. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This way here, please.
Please state your name.
Andy Langshaw?
Do you swear the evidence you'll present today is the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I didn't realize we had a tag team today. So. Good morning, Ms. Sharp.
Thank you.
You're here representing the assessment department for $207, is that correct?
Yes, I'll be representing for the remaining properties. We just had somebody from commercial take a look at the other property because we were looking at it in a different way.
Okay, thank you. Okay, $207, if you would give us your evidence for that, beginning with the roll number, please.
Okay, for parcel ID is 0607099200, 207 Dollar Boulevard. That's located in the central St. Boniface area. This property is a 2.5-story multifamily conversion. It was built in 1914, has some updates to it, so a little bit of an increased effective age. It's on an assessed lot of 4,185 square feet. And we currently have that property assessed at $398,000 or $162.25 per square foot. We are making a recommendation at this time to reduce the 2019 assessment from $398,000 to $365,000, which is $148.80 per square foot, to reflect the April 1st, 2016 market value.
Thank you. Mr. Neufeld, questions?
No, thank you.
Assessor? Mr. Therian, questions for the assessor?
So has the appellant accepted the rec?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
We haven't got there yet.
Oh, I.
Yeah, it was accepted by email.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you know, I don't like to overrule when there's an acceptance between the parties. So I have no questions, thank you.
Ms. Nesbitt?
So based on market value, that was taking a look at these additional comps that you brought in?
Yes, yes, and I also did an exterior tour of the property and just took a quick look of it. It appeared that it was maybe a little bit on the high side, and so just compared to the other properties in the area and the condition that it was in, we decided to make a reduction.
All right, thank you. No, just these comps here,
That's
the
all.
new comps.
So I have one sheet, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry?
We just have one sheet.
Yeah. Okay. So these comparables that you've used, these are the ones that range from 158.85 to 187.88 per square
Correct.
foot?
Yes.
But you feel that the subject property is inferior to those?
Probably a little bit more to the condition of the third and fourth property.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Neufeld, anything further from you?
No, other than on the camera, I just want to apologize for missing that inspection. I
Oh.
just forgot to send it to you. It was a very, very blunder on my fault. Try it. It's official now.
We set up an inspection and so I didn't get to see the interior of the property, but they sent me pictures. And then I did the
I
exterior.
forgot I just didn't send her an email. It was pretty embarrassing, so.
Okay. So you're in agreement with the recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming that there's no questionings on that part then?
No question.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Neufeld.
Thank you.
I'll give the board a minute, please.
I know.
Yeah, please state your name.
Chris Dirksen.
Do you affirm the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Dirksen. Morning. You're representing the owners for 2 parcels of vacant land. It's the amount of the assessed value that we're dealing with,
Correct. There's another property as well.
and 109 Clark as well. You're here for 3 properties.
Yes.
And in each case, it's the amount of assessed value, not classification or liability.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin with 109 Clark then. When you're ready, Mrs. Assessor, if you would give us your evidence, beginning with the roll number, please.
Okay, the parcel ID of the subject is 12-03-196-6000 for 109 Clark Street. It is located in the neighborhood area of 111, which is the River Osborne area. This property is a 2.5-story multifamily conversion, which means that it was originally a residential property converted into 2 units. It was built in 1908, and we have assessed it an effective age of 1973 for the updates that have taken place, which I will get into. The property has a full basement, which has been completely finished. It has 3.5 baths, and there is no outbuildings on the property. The lot size is 3,464 square feet, and the property is commercial adjacent. It is located between 2 apartment buildings. So that's how it has the commercial adjustment on it. We currently have that property assessed for the 2019 assessment at $419,000, which is $198.77 per square foot. Okay. So there was a full inspection took place of both units of this property on November 21st of 2018. I have attached pictures of the exterior and pictures of the upper suite. We did not have permission to take pictures of the lower suite when we were there. So you'll see that there is, it is between 2 apartment blocks. It's a residential building. When you go in the front door, there is a lobby inside the front door. You go into the main floor. The first suite is the main floor, has the living room, kitchen, dining room area, and downstairs is where the bedrooms are. That's the one suite. Then there, from the lobby, there is a staircase takes you up to the second suite, which takes the second and the third floor. And so you can actually see the pictures of the second and the third floor suite that are attached to here. I've got pictures of both bathrooms, and there's pictures of the updated kitchen, the windows out the front, and the dining room and the bedroom of the property. This property was listed for sale on the MLS in August of 2014. It sold for $380,000, with a time adjusted is $393,000 for April 1st of 2016. I'm just going to read the information from that listing. It says, high-end and trendy decor and fixtures, age of building need not apply as so much work has been done, shows A+. Prepare to be awestruck, this property has been completely retrofitted and age need not apply, including foundation, electrical, plumbing, no maintenance exterior, shingles, fixtures, kitchens, bathrooms, and much, much more. The main suite with 5 large rooms, including 2 bedrooms, dining room, and 2 bathrooms. The upper suite with 3 large bedrooms plus dining room and 2 full bathrooms. AAA+++ duplex, all utilities separated, including the water. So to recap, at the time that it was sold in 2014, it had had updates to the foundation, the exterior maintenance, maintenance-free exterior, shingles, windows, most of the flooring have been done, tile, hardwood. Electrical was done, all the switches, the plumbing, including fixtures, and both kitchens and all 4 bathrooms have been updated. This property again was listed on the MLS in August of 2017. Now this is a post-reference sale, and I'm not using the sale price. What I'm using is a description to explain the updates that were done between the 2014 purchase and the current condition of the property. So since that sale for $380,000. The MLS states that there was over $50,000 in upgrades. Each unit has a deck, private entrance, and a small common area of doors to each suite. The cosmetic updates have all been done throughout, along with many major structural components. The listing states that in 2015, so after that sale time, in 2015, but still in our reference, the upgrades included the entire yard was graded, the exterior doors, all the windows were re-insulated, the attic hutch was installed and insulated to R50, sump pump was redone, drywall and baseboards were done, and the listing also states that the front of the house was blue skinned and river rock was installed and the alarm system was been upgraded. Okay. So what we just want to show, we're not looking at the post-reference sale price, we're just showing that the price that it sold on August 2014 still had updates done to it before 2019 that need to be taken into consideration. So you take a time-adjusted price of $393,000 plus all of the upgrades that have been done, and it would appear that the $419,000 value on the property would be considered reasonable. We have also done comparables of the properties. Unfortunately, I'm not able to find any properties that have been updated to the point that this property has been. There have been properties that have had some things done, but not everything that this property has done. The 4 comparables that we've chosen, one is from River Osborne area, the other 4 are from McMillan area, which is fairly close in proximity. The first comparable, I would say, is probably the most comparable, but it is still inferior as far as updates are concerned. It was built in 1903. We have an effective age on it of 1950 to account for their upgrades. It does have a full basement and 2 bathrooms versus 3.5, and sold for $360,000 in March 2016. 796 Dorchester Avenue, again, is a 2.5-story property. It was built in 1911. We have a 1946 effective age on this property, and this property sold for $395 December of 2014. The third comparable is 236 Nassau Street North. This property is 1905 with a 1950 effective age. This property is also slightly smaller, but I wanted to include this one as I felt it was the most comparable. There is no basement finish in this property versus the complete finish of the subject property. There is a detached multiple car garage, but it's 1905, 360 square feet, so probably no value. This property sold for $340,000, April 2014. And the last one is 706 McMillan, which is 1909, and we have a 1919 effective age on this property. Again, no basement finish. It does have a larger lot at 6,000 square feet. Sold for $345,000 in September of 2014. And just a note, comparable number 4, 706 McMillan, even though it did have some updates previously, the current listing for it from September 2014 sold as is. So we are making a recommendation based on the comparable evidence and the MLS information, as well as the inspection that was done on the property, that there be no change to the 2019 assessment valuation of $419,000.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks, questions for the assessor?
Firstly, I would ask the board not to consider any information that was based on the post-reference sale. A lot of that evidence was based on a listing that was in 2017, which I don't think we should be considering a reference date. So I ask that you not place any weight on that sale.
Well, the sale price, I agree, should not be shown on the brief at all. However, the assessor was given a description of what had been done and how it physically stands. So, as you're aware, its economic situation as of April 1, 2016 but its physical condition as of time of the sale.
But that evidence was based on a post-reference listing, which we shouldn't be looking at, correct?
The property was inspected, was it not?
The property was inspected.
So, one question there. I was on the inspection as well, and we spoke to the owner, and according to the owner, he mentioned they had done no renovations other than paint since purchasing, correct?
Yes, since the 2017 purchase. Those updates I was talking about took place between the 2014 and the 2017 purchase. I haven't made any adjustments for what happened after they purchased it in 2017.
So the majority of those renovations, though, pertaining to the 2014 listing, the majority of the renovations were completed prior to that sale, correct?
Prior to which sale?
The property is obviously renovated, but the majority of those renovations occurred prior to the only post-reference sale,
Right,
2014.
right. But there were updates done between the 2014 sale and the 2017 sale that indicate what the condition of the property was on January 1st of 2018. And that's what we're looking for, is what the condition of the property was.
So other than the information pertained from that post-reference listing, the only comparable that would support the value is comparable 3, correct?
No, as I've indicated, all of those properties are inferior in condition. They all support.
Okay. Yeah, that answers my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Thurian?
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture here. Looks very tight here, at least at the bottom here. Is that but then the one at the top, a little different. How close are we to this? My question is.
It's almost touching.
Okay, do you know if there's any encroachment on this property?
Not that I know of, but the owner of the 2-story or 2.5-story complex owns the apartment building as well.
Okay, but we don't know if this title has any encroachment on it. In other words, this property, what I'm after is if there's an encroachment on this property and it does affect to some extent the sale price.
Right.
So I'm
But
looking
if
at
there
that.
if there was an encroachment on that property, there's been an encroachment on that property ever since it was built. And it sold for $354 in 2009 and $380.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that's including the encroachment.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at the situation of encroachment. I know it's sold, the evidence is there, but it doesn't give me a real answer on the encroachment.
Well,
anyway, that's my question.
It states that somebody was willing to pay that amount of money for that property even if there was an encroachment on it. They bought it as it stands today.
You mentioned the last upgrades of between 14 and 17. Do we have any idea of the dates of those upgrades, or we don't know?
The listing stated that all of those upgrades that I listed were done in 2015.
15?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the closest date you have. And what was the date of sale? I missed that on your 2014 date.
The 2014 was August.
August, and it was time adjusted to 393.
Correct.
Now, there's something else you mentioned, and I don't know if I picked it up properly. On comparable 1, I thought you had mentioned that this was the best comparable.
Yes.
I thought you said that, and then when you talked about 3, you said that was the most comparable. Now, is there a difference between the best and the most?
Oh, no, it was
No, that's your evidence.
It was the applicant that said that 3 was the most comparable. I said number 1 was the most
No,
comparable.
when you gave your evidence, I'm sorry, you said it was the most comparable and compared to 3 when you read out your evidence.
Well,
Okay, I'm just saying that. I was trying to see if there's a difference.
Well, I'm pretty sure I didn't say that, but if I did,
made
it's
my-
incorrect because it's not the most comparable.
Okay, because I made a note when you said it. Okay? You couldn't inspect the bottom suite, just the upstairs, right?
No, we inspected the bottom suite.
You did as well? Which one did you couldn't get in? Did I?
We could get in, we just couldn't take pictures.
Oh, couldn't take pictures.
Yeah.
So you saw the whole works?
Yes.
Okay. No cracking or anything evident?
Not that I can
Nothing?
see of. The one on the main floor was even more updated than the upstairs suite. The one on the main floor had a built-in electric fireplace. It had new hardwood flooring. It
Okay.
had glass and metal railing all around the stairs. It was
Okay,
probably
so
more
you
updated.
saw all of that?
Yes.
Okay, thanks very much. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Nesbitt?
No questions, thanks.
A comment to begin with, and we touched on this, the post-reference sale price should not be on your brief.
Right, and you're welcome to accept it or not.
I prefer it not be there, actually, but, and the variance from 1908 to 1973, that was due to all this, I guess, substantial work that was done.
Correct.
Is that a calculated effective age, or is that just an observed?
It's just an observed. We look at conditions of several properties and make estimates based on what we feel that the upgrades have added to the value of the property.
Mm-hmm. And the assessment was model-driven?
Yes,
And would the model look at the 1973, would that give it more weight on the
it would give it,
variable?
yes, it would give it more weight than if the property was 1908 original.
Or comparable to these other 1946 and 1950 variables of your
Right.
subject? So it would
Right.
add more weight to it. Okay, and from your description, it sounded like there was significant work done. Was there permits taken out on any of this? Did you
Not that I
search?
know of.
Did you search for permits?
I didn't find any in our system.
Thank you. Thank you. This is residential, so people can do it at time of hearing. Residential. So, there's no exchange date on residential. Hey, Mr. Dirksen, would you walk us through your evidence for this property, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the property we're dealing with here is obviously 109 Clark Street. If we turn to page 1 of our brief, we can see a street view of the property. It is currently assessed at $419,000. We're requesting the assessment be reduced to $390,000. It's evident in this picture, we've discussed this already too, and it'll be part of my case throughout, but the property is located very close to the adjacent apartment buildings. And just the fact that it is surrounded by these apartment buildings, I think is a negative factor. Not so much for the current owners as they own the next door apartment building, which it is basically touching. But I think it is definitely a negative market factor and something to keep in mind when we look at the comparable sales. Page 2, you see a satellite image of the property, just to kind of highlight the surrounding properties. We have large apartment buildings on both sides, commercial properties directly across the street on Bell and Clark, and right just west of Donald Street. Page 3 is our comparables chart. We do have one of the same comparisons as Ms. Sharp, which is 101 Cochon. I feel that she mentioned as well that this was a good comparable. I agree, I think it is a good comparable. It is, according to MLS, significantly upgraded, well-maintained. It had, this actually applies to all of them, but I consider all of them to be superior locations, which I'll go into a little more detail as well. All of the comparisons, as you can see towards the bottom, the average age is 1908, equal to the subject property. Average living area, very similar to the subject property. I think it's important to consider similar size properties as smaller properties often sell for more per square foot. The average time-adjusted sale price per square foot is $150. I do think that is a little low, which is why my recommendation of $390,000 is towards the top end of the range provided by these sales, which is right around $185 per square foot. That value is also supported by the time-adjusted sale price. The August 2014 sale price of $380,000, time adjusted to $393,000. So I feel like the comparisons support this value as well as the time adjusted pre-reference sale. Looking a little bit more into these comparisons, the majority of these comparisons, with the exception of number 5, have forced air furnace, gas heat. Comparison number 6 has a hot water boiler. The subject property only has baseboard heat throughout, which I think is a negative factor in comparison. The subject property does have a fully finished basement, but all of the bedrooms on the one rental unit are in the basement. There are no main floor bedrooms, which I think is another negative factor. All the other comparisons looked at here, which are all as well 2.5-star duplexes, have main floor bedrooms. All of these, specifically comparisons 2, 3, 4, and 5, I would consider significantly, maybe not significantly, but inferior in condition to the subject property, but again, superior in location. Comparison number 6 was completely remodeled in 2007. And again, as I mentioned, comparison number 1, which Ms. Sharp also included as well, was significantly upgraded. If we look in the appendix, turning a couple pages, I've included the street view of the comparisons I analyzed. Just to kind of highlight, the majority of these appear to be good condition properties. And I definitely, the main point to highlight here is that I consider these all superior in location. Most of them, with the exception of number 4, are on much quieter residential, 4 and 6 are on quieter residential streets surrounded by residential properties, which I think is definitely superior marketability to the subject's location, which is something to consider. While the condition of the subject may be slightly superior in terms of upgrades, the location is definitely inferior. So yeah, with that, I recommend the assessment be reduced to $390,000, supported by the comparisons as well as the time-adjusted sale price. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sharp, questions for the applicant?
Yes. You indicated that the property adjacent to the apartment, how close it was to the apartment, wasn't an issue for the current owners because they own the apartment building. Would you say that the previous 2 owners knew that it was that close to the building?
Of course they would know.
Right, and do you think it would have affected their decision when they made a purchase of this property at that time?
I don't have much issue with the previous sales, which are pre-reference. I'm speaking to the current owners, which...
Right, I'm not asking about that. I'm just saying, like, the person who paid $354,000 in 2009 and the person who paid $380,000 in 2014, would they have known where the building sat? Would they have known it was right beside that apartment building? Correct. So that would have affected their decision when they purchased it.
Correct.
Right? The 3 bedrooms in the basement would have affected their decision when they purchased it?
I'm not aware if for the 2014 sale, correct. I'm not aware if I think the renovations were done post-2009, so I can't speak to that.
Okay.
So, but as far as the 2014 sale, they would be aware of the basement,
Okay.
of the bedroom layout.
Right, so they would have taken all of that into consideration when they purchased the property for $380,000. So it would have been part of their market decision.
I don't know if it had, I don't know what the previous owner's motivations were. I was just speaking to the current owners and reflecting the 2017 sale, which shouldn't be included in the first place.
Right,
So that was
right,
speaking
and
to
I'm
that.
just pointing out that the things you were talking about that should be considered were considered by previous people.
And
right.
I'm using that 14 sale to justify my value as well.
Yeah, okay, so, you read the, MLS listing for the 2017 listing?
I did look at it.
Okay. So would you say there were any updates between 2014 and 2017?
What I got from the 2017 sale is it listed a value in upgrades, and we confirmed that with the owner that those are already done. Those were previous to the 2014 sale as well.
Right, that's third-party information.
So that's all I based it on. I don't consider that listing or any other information.
Okay, so you
Plus
don't
reference
consider the
that.
fact that there were upgrades done in 2015 that would affect the value in 2018?
I honestly don't recall seeing that, but
That it says the entire yard was graded 2015, exterior doors 2015, all windows re-insulated, structural components insulated 2015, attic hutch installed and insulated to R50, sump pump 2015, drywall and baseboards 2015.
What was your question there?
I'm just wondering if he's asking for the time-adjusted sale price of $390,000. So would you not like us to take into consideration the upgrades that were done after the purchase was taken place?
I don't really, I don't consider, there are some significant upgrades there, but entire yard graded, and a lot of those, drywall, I consider a lot of those just to be maintenance. I don't consider a lot of those to be significant
Okay.
upgrades.
Okay, and can you give us a little bit of indication of the condition of your properties? I see that by your averages on the bottom left-hand corner of your information, you said that your average is 1908, your median age is 1908, average living space is 2228, median living area is 2205, but your average sales are 150,000 per square foot. Can you explain why you're asking for $185 a square foot when your properties are supporting something that says $145 a square foot?
Yes, I can. So I think it's important to look at similar as possible type properties. Big factors in that are age and living area. I think those are two big components that affect the value. Beyond that, it has a lot to do with upgrades, renovations, upkeep. So I am in agreement that a lot of these comparables are inferior in terms of upgrades and renovations, which is why I determined that the high end of the range provided. I feel like the market still has to support the value, which is why I feel that the high end of this is appropriate, taking into consideration as well, the fact that I've mentioned that I consider the location inferior. I think that balances out some of the superior finish of the subject property. I think it's, I just think that towards the high end of the range provided is considered appropriate, and the time adjusted sale price seemed to support that value as well.
Can you give us, the 101 Cachon, I reviewed that one as well. I noticed that none of the other properties that you included as comparisons were over 350,000. And the two properties, 773, no, sorry. The 525 Jesse and the 753, or the 1,087 Corden, both those properties are quite a ways away from where this property is, correct?
I didn't consider them quite a ways away.
Okay,
Same MLS area.
okay. Can you give us a little bit of indication of what the condition of 587 McMillan is?
Yes, one second. So 587 McMillan is definitely, as I mentioned here, inferior condition to the subject. Newer shingles, newer windows, pre-finished softened fascia, hardwood, refinished hardwood flooring, generous eating kitchen with oak cabinetry, remodeled bathrooms. Like, it has some upgrades for sure. Nothing was, I definitely considered it inferior, which is why I made a note of it, but it's definitely not in poor shape either. It definitely has been upgraded.
Okay. Did you notice that it was sold as is?
I don't have that on my,
It was on the MLS listing.
do you have the agent printout or the client printout?
I'm not sure. Could be the agent one? I
Because
don't know.
mine, I have the client printout, mine does not, I'm not sure where it says that, but mine does not say sold as is.
Okay. Okay. I guess I'm just wondering why you chose to pick properties that were significantly inferior when there were properties that were in better condition in the same area as the ones you chose.
Which were the ones you were referring
Well,
to?
773 Dorchester and 796 Dorchester. They would have been right beside each other, but because 796 Dorchester sold for $395 and 773 Dorchester sold for $350 or $1.34 a square foot, you chose to use that. So obviously, to me, I would say by the sale price that it wasn't as updated.
Honestly, I did a search on 2.5-story duplex. These were the only good ones I could find for whatever reason. I can't speak to why I would have missed 796 Dorchester unless it wasn't on MLS. I don't know.
Okay.
That's fine.
I may
No
have
further
skipped a couple,
questions.
but just to point out on that 796 Dorchester also supports our value.
Thank you. Mr. Thurin.
Yes, you made a point about the bedrooms being in the basement.
Yes.
Do you know the height of the basement apartment, the heights there?
I don't feel like it would have been an issue. I don't know for sure, but I would say probably 8 feet.
Okay, so that's a guess.
Just from being down there, from being down there and standing there.
And
No-
did you say all the other comparables were on, there were no suites in the basement? Did I miss that, or?
There were main floor bedrooms on the other.
Main floor bedrooms. is
Whether
that
there
what-
was any basement ones, I'm not sure, but I just mentioned that there were
Yeah.
main floor bedrooms.
Okay. The other thing I noticed here, you showed all the years built, but you never showed the effective age like the city has. Did you have that information, or you didn't have it?
We don't have access to that information like the city has. They have their effective ages that they calculate, unless
Okay.
we have further access to unless we represent the client on the property. I don't believe there's any way we can access that information from the city.
Yeah, because, you know, it does give us an indication of, I guess, to some extent of the upgrades when there is that type of situation.
Yeah, we don't have access to that.
It's-
Sorry, Mr. Thurin, let me interrupt you there.
Yeah,
Have you requested that information in the past from
Like
the
property
assessor?
specific,
from the assessor?
like just on a property specific basis.
Right, like, for instance, I'm talking about the past, but in this one, you obviously didn't talk to the assessor. and ask if there were varying ages on your comparables. Is that correct?
As far as no, we did not have discussions on comparables
Oh,
with this
okay,
with
and-
the assessor.
So you're assuming that that information isn't available to you?
That it is not, oh, so
You've
sorry.
never asked the assessor
So,
for
yeah.
variant ages on properties?
I should clarify, it's not publicly accessible. I'm certain if we requested it, we could access it.
Okay.
We did not request it in this.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Thurman.
That's fine, Mr. Chairman, you're making a point that's important here. It seems that your main argument, and I'm just trying that when we talked about the age and the location, you figure that it's superior to your comparables. But the age and location is really the factor here in requesting the amount you requested. Is that what you said, or did I miss that?
So location is definitely a factor. I think it is tough. I will agree that it is tough to find upgraded similar type buildings. So I found as similar type as I could find. And then while some of these are slightly inferior in terms of condition, I felt they were superior in terms of location, so I felt that kind of balanced it out a
Okay,
little.
that's why your argument was on location.
Correct.
Okay, I think I have it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Nesbitt?
I just want to confirm the location of some of these. The subject property is on, I've got my directions right, the east side of Osborne.
It is on the east side of, just west of Donald.
Just, so it's between Donald and Osborne.
Correct.
Okay. These other ones, are they on the other side of Osborne? Like, I'm trying to get a sense of the neighborhood, Osborne Village versus
Correct.
kind of that Corridon area, like
Correct.
Jesse, Gertrude. I'm trying to just get a sense of that.
I should have printed out a map with
It
all
would be
the
helpful.
applications, but I believe all the comparisons are on the same side, with the exception of the
This-
Corridon.
Sorry, the same side of,
Osborne. I believe,
Osborne.
east of Osborne.
Mhm. Gertrude and Jesse run off Pembina Highway. No, Jesse does, for sure, I think.
I'm sorry, I
Okay.
can't speak to that.
I'm
I
trying
have
to
them
get
on
a
the map
sense
at
of
the
where they
office.
are in relation to each other. Are they the same general type of neighborhood, like the characters of the neighborhood, are they same?
Yes.
They might be in the same MLS listing, but are they in the same?
When I looked at them, I was picking properties, trying to be as close as possible to the subject. I should have printed that map as I was looking at it, because I can't speak to it offhand either.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And just wanted to ask about baseboard heating. You had indicated that you felt baseboard heating was inferior?
I would consider it inferior heat to a furnace heat.
And why do you consider it? Because I'm just not familiar with.
Just not as efficient, it's a less efficient source of heat. Yeah, that's mainly the issue. I think it's a very inefficient form of heat for such a large building, and I think having a forced air furnace would be an asset in terms of marketability.
Okay, and then only one of your comps, that one on Dorchester, has baseboard heat, the others don't.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your photos of your comparables,
Mhm.
but can you tell us which ones are which?
Oh, yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
sorry.
ask that too.
I should have, sorry.
Well, 101
Oh,
Cochon,
okay.
which one is 101? The middle one or?
It's the
one on
middle,
right?
it's always, yeah, I should
Yeah,
have
it's-
used
Okay,
the middle
I
one,
was
but it's
gonna
always
ask that
like
too, I
the
forgot.
middle one, so the 101 Cochon.
Oh, it's always the middle?
On the pictures that I took here, yeah. I tried to put the
Yeah.
comparisons centered in the photo.
Okay.
I kind of zoomed out a little bit because I kind of wanted to show you the neighboring properties as well. That's my reasoning for not
Right.
focusing.
I
on
thought
one.
it was a 3-to-1 or something.
Okay, and then 1087 Corden, that's also the one kind of in the middle behind this white car?
Correct. This, yeah, it's a small photo of that one.
Okay, so you're talking about location, and you're saying superior location. Is that due to the surrounding improvements that you're talking about?
My argument is mainly based on, yeah, surrounding improvements.
Okay, and then
The fact that it's
not
surrounded.
really location, but the situation on the lot itself is what you're considering to be a location as well?
Situation on lot surrounding, immediately surrounding properties, correct. Yeah, that's my argument for location wise.
Okay, I think that's my only questions, thank you. Desire for a summation on this one?
I'm good.
I'm good as well, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Is that with us? On Marcus next to? Okay. Just the file number?
Just a number.
So,
So like,
okay.
so what you have under sheet 7, this should
Mhm.
actually be perfect. Right, that should actually be 6 then. I think that's the only thing that's wrong. Just ask her.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Now we have 2 vacant residential lots. The first one we're going to deal with, it says here, this is file 18697. And is this brief for that file number?
It appears that I got the 698 and the 697 backwards on the sheets.
Okay, so
That's the only thing that.
this one is actually, the first one is 698, file 698.
698
And
is for.
the second one where it says 698 is 697.
Correct,
But everything else, the roll numbers are correct?
yep.
Okay. So then let's deal with that. Let's deal with the one that's shown on here first. So it'll be file 698, but the roll number will be 05, ending with 955.
955.
95.
Okay. So the subject property is parcel ID 05-00942-5955. It's lot 2, block 2, plan 59962. This property is 2.76 acres located in the neighborhood area of Leland North. And it is zoned.
I'm sorry, just one moment, please. I'm kind of confused you. It's the last one we're dealing with first?
Yeah.
Well, I'm using the
Use the roll number.
955 subject.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that?
You're okay with it?
955 subject, 2.76 acres.
Yeah, that's what I have.
76, right.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
should
let's
say
do
up
it.
front that both properties are side by side.
Oh.
Both is owned by the same person, they're very similar, we use the same comparables, so
Okay.
it's all, very similar properties.
Okay, but let's deal with this 955 one first.
Yeah, is 2.76 acres or 120,273 square feet. The 2019 assessment roll is 1,647,000, and that is 596,503.95 per acre, or 13.69 per square foot. We are making a recommendation to reduce the 2019 assessment to 1,624,000, which is 13.50 a square foot, to reflect the April 1st, 2016 market value. The recommendation was accepted by Representative Chris Dirksen of Altus by email on October the 24th, 2018.
Thank you. So, Mr. Dirksen, no questions from what the assessor
I-
said?
We do accept the recommendation, obviously, but I do just have a question / comment. Again, post-reference sale,
Yeah.
these shouldn't be included on the brief, correct?
No.
It's the way our briefs are designed. Everybody.
Do you have a whiteout?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody prints them that way.
I've dealt with a number of other assessors who do not put them on the briefs. They won't include them. They'll have maybe the date, but they won't have the value. Are you aware of that?
No, it's the way it's printed out.
But you can edit that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from that.
Okay.
Nothing further? Further questions for the assessor?
No other questions.
Mr. Therian?
No questions.
No
Senator?
questions.
And I have none. So you're in agreement with the recommended value of $1,624,000, so you have nothing further to present?
1 million, just to clarify, 1,624,000. I think you said 44.
Did I?
625.
I thought I heard 24.
Okay, I think the agreement.
Okay. Thank you.
Better check. Okay.
And we'll deal with the other one then, and that ends in 950. It's file number 697.
Okay, and the parcel ID is 050009425950, lot 1, block 2, plan 59962. And that is a 2.47 acre property, 107,610 square feet, located in Leland North. We currently have the property assessed at $1,522,000, making a recommendation to reduce the 2019 assessment to $1,453,000. To better reflect the April 1st, 2016 market value, the recommendation was accepted by Representative Chris Dirksen by email on October 24th, 2018.
Thank you. Mr. Dirksen, similar comments?
Similar comments, and I do accept the recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Therian?
No questions, thank
Ms.
you.
Nesbitt?
No questions.
So if you're in agreement, Mr. Dirksen, I'm assuming there's no further presentation from you?
Correct.
Thank you. That will conclude our hearing. Thank you both for your presentations today.